Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the weekly meeting for Plano West Rotary Club. I am Alex Johnson, your president. Today is Tuesday, January 18th. And I am going to turn this over to our past president and Sergeant of Arms, Steve Lawton. You have till 12:15 to get a lot of brags in.
Boy, that's going to be a challenge with the amount of members I see online right now. Thanks, Alex. Fred Thomas, are you in the mood to start off some brags for us today? You're muted, Fred.
Muted, Fred.
Fred, you're muted. Fred, you're muted.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
All right. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Just playing the testing. Father God, in the name of Jesus, we just thank you for the day, for your new mercy, for your grace.
Fred, we're not doing invocation yet. We're doing brags.
Oh.
So just give us a brag.
That was a very good prayer.
That's a good brag.
A brag prayer, yeah.
Hey, Steve,
Anything you
try
want to
somebody
brag
else.
about, Fred?
Yes.
I think you muted yourself again, Fred. I'm sorry. John Stafford, would you like to brag?
You know,
Always.
John Stafford always has a
Always.
brag. Okay, but I'm going to brag on my wife who's joining today. So,
Woo!
give
Congratulations.
her all the love in the world for that.
Thank you, honey.
That's fantastic. Thank you.
Lisa.
Norma's Cafe. Who wants to brag there?
Fred does.
Fred does.
I want to brag on our attendance at the round table this past weekend. I know everybody's probably going to say the same thing, but I think we had 16 there, and I think there were 17 that weren't Plano West Rotary members.
Right.
There you go.
Anybody else?
Any other brags around here?
I can't believe you didn't say something about me.
All right.
Hang on.
All I have to say is I got a negative COVID test on Friday. So
Yeah. Tell you what, tests are getting hard to find right now.
hi, this is Roxana. Hi, Steve. So I'm gonna grab. I'm very. My daughter just got approved by the board to do a long-term exchange program for youth Rotary. So we're gonna apply for it. We'll see if she gets in, but I'm so happy, and she's very happy and very grateful. And thank you, Rotary Plano West.
That's fantastic. Anybody else?
I will.
Okay, Glenn, thank you.
So Joanna and I had planned to kind of walk through the technology here on this side today, but she's very flexible. She got pulled away to do some of the Zoom stuff. So I was a little disappointed in that. But then I'm going to throw Alex under the bus here. Then I saw that our technology setup team is Zane and Joanna. So I'm thinking they can set this up next week, right? They're the setup team. I'm kidding. What I would like to say is that if anybody would like to, we're just now getting this going. If anybody would like to, help, I can walk you through how to do this. And I need the help. It's just me right now. So if I'm not here, then we're not having this currently. But maybe you and I can set up another time to go through this. So if you're feeling a little techie, it's not too bad. I've got it documented, but we've got a speaker and a camera and a couple of things. So I'll be glad to walk you through that.
Hey, Glenn, Isabel just typed in chat. She would like to learn as well.
Awesome.
Looks like you have another volunteer.
Isabel, well, it does require, Isabel, that you be here, but I know you've been interested in coming to Norma's and you've been here, so you're muted.
Well, you say that, but we also, I'm sure Joanna would like to have backup for Zoom as well. So
My family was sick this weekend, so I thought it'd be best to stay away this week.
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
every family's been sick recently.
Yeah, so Isabel and Joanna, I've got a team going here. Awesome, thank you.
Does Joanna want to brag?
Same said John Stafford.
No, but for the Zoom.
Joanna, do you want to brag?
Be quiet, girl. Be quiet.
No, she's busy.
Okay.
find somebody else.
All right, sorry.
Clevie,
Red Camden.
do you want to brag?
Oh, you guys, I would love to share I guess I could share a brag. So my son and I got COVID over the holiday, but we are fully recovered and we had no hospitalizations. Neither one of us had to go to the doctor. He just had a headache and body aches one day. And then the other 3 days, his only lasted 4 days. He was running around my house. I could not get any sleep, but I was able to celebrate the New Year and Christmas Eve with him. But in a way, it was a blessing because it made me stop and rest and let everything else go. And it also made me not log into work and try to work. So it's funny how things happen that tell you just got to slow down. So I kind of renewed and really, it was a good thing. So that's a brag. We're well.
Thanks for sharing.
Steve, my wife has her first brag.
Okay, go ahead.
Nothing like put you on the spot. So my youngest daughter had her first swim meet. We traveled this weekend to Victoria, taking as many precautions as we could, but she did great. She was so nervous at 10 years old, her first time, but she did great in competition and loved it and wants to do more going forward. So that was a blessing.
It's awesome to hear. Congratulations. I'll throw a brag out there. Most of y'all know I have rheumatoid arthritis, which also means my immune system is greatly weakened. So my doctor said I need to get vaccine number 4. I got that in Athens, Texas last Friday. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you're doing well.
Yeah, so far I've been able to dodge it.
And no
take
side
lots
effects
of-
from the vaccine, the 4th one?
All 4 of the ones have all been the original one, whatever that's called, Pfizer.
Pfizer, okay.
Yeah, my arm was sore. That's the only side effect I've had.
Oh, good. Good.
To my knowledge, Alex, I've had everybody brag that can brag.
Well, we could probably get one out of Fred now, a brag, not invocation. We have Laura, we have Lisa Leach, we have Mike Walker,
Well,
Fred
didn't see it on
Beemendorfer
my
hasn't
screen.
bragged, and then we have our
Right.
guest.
I just hadn't scrolled down. Lisa, you want to brag?
I've been trying to think of a brag and I can't think of one. I'm happy I'm here.
Staying healthy?
Yeah. I've so far keep my fingers crossed. I haven't managed to get it either. So yeah, we'll see. I guess it's only a matter of time. But
How about Miss Laura Johnson? Does she want to brag?
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
I'm going to just say that I'm, even though we've been a little COVID challenged here at the house, I am COVID free at this point. So, and I plan to stay that way. So, one way or the other, I'm going to get back in my office. Working out of this house is not fun.
Alex.
So staying healthy here.
Does Alex talk too much, Laura?
Oh, we're nowhere near each other.
The
but I
background
don't.
is our 14-year-old got COVID. So
Oh.
the school is, now she's vaccinated and asymptomatic, but the school automatically PISD, you can't go in for 10 days. Well, then
Yeah.
Laura's work saying, oh, you've been exposed, even though you're boosted and negative, she can't go in for 10 days. So Laura's
And then I gotta
cracking
get a-
down on the family that we cannot put ourselves at risk because she can't get COVID because she needs to go back in the office. So that's why I'm running this meeting from here, because Big Mama said, you're staying home.
I
Yeah.
cannot risk
Yeah.
it. I'm being penalized because my kid has COVID. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
That's kind of like punishing your kids normally involves punishing yourself, right?
Yeah. Well,
You're grounded.
anyway,
and
so
so's the
I'm
parents.
good to go.
So I'll be in trouble if
Taking
I
your
give
car
her.
away from you. Now I have to shuttle you around, right? Back to you, Alex.
Well, let's see. What about Mike Walker? Man, we haven't seen
Sure.
him like this Rotary year. So give us a brag, Mike. Don't just wave.
We'll even see him as part of the attendees.
If he's speaking, Glenn, we can't hear Mike.
Was he at Norma's?
Yes, he's sitting next to Fred.
Back in the Rotary fold. You were muted there for a little bit. Sorry. Try again.
I think Mike's been gone hunting.
Yeah, well, I have. He said I was muted and repeated. I can't remember what I said, but I'm glad I'm here, and this is my first meeting since I think October, and I'm glad to be back with my friends. Thank you.
Great to see you, Mike. How about our guest? Glenn, does our guest have a brag, our visiting Rotarian?
I don't have a brag. This will be the first time. I just joined our Rotary Club in Richardson, so this will be my first brag, and it's not at my club. But I am the owner of a professional basketball team that actually is playing in Plano this season. So we're getting ready to start our season March 4th. So I guess that's a brag.
Well, that's awesome to know. Maybe we're gonna have to get you signed up so you can tell us all about it.
And
For
get
would be
tickets. I
one of
love
our
basketball.
programs. Did we get one out of Isabel? Have you given us a brag, Isabel?
Just survived the weekend. Actually, my husband was COVID positive last week. So, but he's all better now. Today's like the 10th day. So he's all good. And I managed to stay well, and so did my kids.
That's awesome.
So. Oh, and I made really good chicken last night that the boys loved. And I was so happy about it. Because my oldest is very picky. So when I make something good, I'm always so happy. So I nailed it.
And then Joanna, did we get a brag out of you?
No.
Would you like to brag about something?
No.
Brag.
Showed that.
No
Well,
brag.
Steve, I think that covers everybody, like you said.
Yes, sir.
Well, welcome everybody. It's great to get some brags. Is that LaShawn that walked in? Oh,
It is.
Okay, she's shaking her head no. I'm like, oh, who is that? You don't realize the restaurant is very, very tiny for us. So great. Well, awesome. What I'm going to do now is one, share my screen. And two, turn it over to Mr. Fred Thomas, who is eager to do our invocation. So take it away, Fred. Fred, you're muted. We didn't hear your.
Can you hear me?
Now we can. Awesome. Take it away, my friend.
Father God, we just thank you today for a new mercy and your love and your kindness. And we just thank you for this meeting right now, Lord, all that involved. Lord, let us have a successful meeting. Let everyone be safe and let their family be safe in the name of Jesus. Let us do your will, Lord, as we serve the communities and serve people. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Amen, and thank you, Mr. Thomas. Now we're going to ask Catherine to lead us in the pledge.
Ready to have the mic?
No.
Really loud. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Catherine. All right, we have a very special moment today. We are going to vote and then induct Mrs. Julia Stafford, who is going to be, I think, our 5th Rotary spouse in our club, which is pretty awesome. We are a family club of a lot of Rotary spouses, so that's very exciting. So Joanna is going to pop up a poll for us in Zoom. And then Glenn is going to track the voting in person. So everybody in Zoom, vote quickly. John, vote yes. She can see you.
I'd already cast my vote by the time you reminded me.
Okay. So we're like, John, what are you doing? Awesome. So Glenn, how are we looking in person?
All thumbs up.
All thumbs up. And we are all thumbs up online. So you have been unanimously voted, Julia Stafford.
Oh, thank you. Look forward to more service.
So now what we do, Julia, you have to be inducted. The vote is one thing. Now we actually have to induct you. So at this point, I am just speaking to you and everybody else is watching. So Julia Stafford, you have been proposed for membership by John, and the club has elected you. Therefore, it is my pleasure to induct you into the Rotary Club of Plano West. I understand you are aware of Rotary requirements and will follow them. You have offered your services to assist your fellow Rotarians in their community and international projects. As you know, Rotary is a service club, each member performing what Rotary terms as service above self. Besides service, you will have the benefit of powerful bonds of friendship with fellow Rotarians locally and worldwide. I especially commend to your attention the Object of Rotary and the 4-way test, which form the criteria for Rotarians in their daily lives. When you travel, you'll have the special opportunity to attend Rotary meetings and meet Rotarians throughout the world. This is another rewarding benefit of your membership. And now, by the power vested in me as president of Rotary Club of Plano West, I virtually pin this Rotary emblem, if you can see it, on you and declare you to be an active member of this Rotary Club. Welcome to Rotary. We all look forward to the enrichment of our lives and your own by your association in the world's oldest, largest, and finest service organization, Rotary International.
Thank you.
Julia, we would love for you to share a few words. I don't know if everybody's realized she's been volunteering with us for a couple of years now. You know, she shows up, does all the work, and John just does all the smiling. So now we've got the real power in the Stafford family in our club, which is awesome. Tell us about yourself, Julia.
Sure. So I was, as you can probably tell from my accent, I wasn't born in the United States. I was born in Russia. I came to the US as a student, loved everything about this great country, and got a great opportunity to stay and further my education. And then, of course, got a job and met future Mr. Stafford. And so we have a wonderful family. We've been here in Plano for about 6 years. I was first introduced to Rotary by a dear friend of mine who might also be a great speaker for one of our future events. She works a lot with young people in leadership in Rotary and organizes all kinds of events for them, and just kind of might be a good idea to have her talk about how we can attract younger people. She's Bridget Markwood. She currently in Georgia, but she could definitely join us virtually. So, and we love living in Plano. We love our community where we live, and always enjoyed volunteering and helping out people. And so would love to continue that with the Rotary of Plano West Club. And look forward to seeing and meeting everyone, hopefully in person at our future events, and doing everything we can to help out.
That is awesome. You might know, I don't know if John told you, we happen to be a club of immigrants. We have members that range from, I think, what, 7 or 8 different countries. I can't even keep track of them. So now we just have a new country, which just adds to the amazing diversity of our club. So that's really fantastic. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Awesome. So what we're going to do now is the foundation moment. So what I have is a video actually talking about what a current club is doing, utilizing Rotary Foundation funds from a district grant level. And I thought it was pretty inspiring. So everybody watch the video.
COVID-19 pandemic has changed how we live our daily lives. The challenges faced by disadvantaged and vulnerable sections of our society are disturbing. Despite being a tropical paradise, Hawaii ranks highest in the United States in homelessness per capita. We see how the pandemic has deeply affected those struggling day to day, living in parks, on the streets, or in shelters, where self-isolation and quarantine are not so simple. In addition to being a Rotarian, I am just one of dozens of physicians and hundreds of volunteers who comprise the Hawaii Home Project, a free, student-run mobile medical clinic dedicated to improving quality and access to healthcare for Hawaii's growing homeless population. Utilizing an existing partnership with the Hawaii Home Project, Rotarians across the island of Oahu rose to the challenge of COVID-19 by providing face masks, hygiene kits, and hot meals to individuals living in a temporary quarantine camp. Through these simple acts of kindness and compassion, in a time where people have become disconnected and society is polarized, we have reconnected with our island community. And to paraphrase Dr. Martin Luther King, it is a heart full of grace, a soul generated by love, and a spirit of aloha that allows us to serve, to take action, and to make the world a better place for everyone.
Just another great example of different Rotary clubs are using the Rotary Foundation to impact their local communities on a timely basis, like as of now. So I thought that was pretty inspiring. Let's talk a little bit about a club business. We had 1, 2, 3 new people at our board meeting last night, and that was awesome. I encourage our club members to join our board meeting. Just even if you don't have anything to say, just watch. They're posted under our meetings tab on the website every month. It's on, what is that, second Tuesday or second Monday via Zoom at 6, but look under meetings and you'll see them. And so I encourage you, just so you can see what's going on with the club. And so our next one is February 21st at 6. So I encourage you to be a part of it. Now, in March, there is a very special training called District Assembly. This is training done at the district level, and it's for club leadership. We as a club, we have it in our budget to pay the attendance fee for any club member that wants to join. And so you have to go to the district website, which is rotary5810.org. And if you click through, you can register. You pay for it, and then we reimburse you after you attend, and you would work with Catherine on the reimbursement, but attend. Actually, this is really for Joy and her leadership team, specifically her exec board, but we encourage others to get involved, because that way, the more you know now, the easier it is for you to step up and serve in the future. So mark your calendars for District Assembly on March 26th. If you have any questions on it, Glenn's probably going to be your best person, because I think he's actually involved in the planning of it. I don't know if it's going to be hybrid or in person only. Do you know, Glenn?
Right now, it's in person
Only? They're not going to have a hybrid option?
only.
Okay. So, but as we know, over the last 2 years, things change. And so we will, but register regardless. And if you feel safe in going in person, definitely go, because that's going to be in 2 months from now. So a lot can change. If we talk about what we've done recently, we had 2 service projects last week. We delivered furniture to needy families in partnership with Bed Start. And then we also worked the food pantry at Armstrong Middle School. Just an FYI, I was contacted by an investigative reporter for Channel 5. They had heard about what we were doing, delivering furniture, and the recipients are refugees. And so she contacted us. Well, I had Jennifer Schertzer, who's in charge of that project. She talked to her, and actually she's going to work with Bed Start because she actually wants to talk to the families. But what's powerful about it is she saw our Rotary Club mentioned as delivering furniture to refugees in Next Door. So it just tells you the exposure that we're having. They didn't talk about Bed Start. They talked about Plano West Rotary and the fact that we're helping deliver furnitures to those in need. So that was pretty powerful. And so it just tells you, let's just keep up the good work because people know what we're doing on a daily basis. In our upcoming projects, we have a food pantry at Bowman Middle School. As we know, we had to sign up for that. And then on Saturday, we have our Adopt a Highway where we're cleaning up a stretch of Avenue K. So sign up for that. I actually don't know. We usually try to cap it at 10. How are we looking, Glenn?
I think all 10 are filled right now.
Oh, okay. Sorry, folks. Talk to Glenn if you want to have some hookups, but that's awesome. That usually, when we have projects with only 10, they fill up. I know the Deliver Furniture fills up as well because that's capped at 10. And then we have Rallison, where we are delivering food on the 31st. And then we have our Bed Start partnership on February 12th, and then the food pantry. So sign up for projects, get your friends to sign up. You know, that's what we're all about. And so, everybody knows the drill, but okay. Well, I am the program today, but before I do that, I'm not going to have a formal introduction. I want to talk about a bigger picture in Rotary that a lot of people aren't familiar with. It's called the guiding principles. We're all familiar with the 4-way test because we say it at the end of all of our meetings. But if you remember when you registered, you also got a little book, and we talked about the Object of Rotary. And the Object of Rotary is to encourage and foster the ideal of service on a basis of worthy enterprise, and in particular to encourage and foster, 1, the development of acquaintance as an opportunity of service. That's basically networking. You know, we develop friends as we're serving the community. 2, high ethical standards in business and professions, the recognition of the worthiness of all useful occupations, and dignifying of each Rotarian's occupation as an opportunity to serve society. So basically their focus, the second object of Rotary is high ethical standards in business for all of us. 3rd, the application of the ideal of service in each Rotarian's personal, business, and community life. And then 4th, the advancements of international understanding, goodwill, and peace through world fellowship of business and professional persons united in ideal of service. And everything we do is directed towards the object of Rotary. That's the whole point of us. And if you notice, 3 out of the 4 objects of Rotary, it talks about business and occupations. And over time, that's something that's kind of been lost with Rotary, even though it's a pretty high point. And then when you look at avenues of service is how we channel our commitment to service at home and abroad through 5 avenues of service. It's really saying 5 ways that we achieve the object of Rotary. 1, club service. That's doing things to help the club, like volunteering to run committees during the meetings, everything. That we have so many volunteers to help run our meetings and just run our club. That's club service. 2, vocational service. Oh, by the way, Glenn is our club service chair. And then vocational service calls on each Rotarian to work with integrity and contribute their expertise to the problems and needs of society. So that's where we take our professional skill set, our ability, our vocation, what we do for a living with integrity and contribute our expertise. Third, community service, that kind of pretty obvious what it is, serving in a local community. And then youth services, that's empowering the youth. And then international service, exemplifying our global reach and promoting peace and understanding. These are the guiding principles of Rotary globally, and it's for our club. And what's interesting is how important vocational services are. Those of us that have been in Rotary for a long time, we remember in the beginning, there was a thing called classification talks. And what you do for a living was 4 months. That was like a criteria when you join a club. And it's kind of softened for a bit, but the object of Rotary has not changed. It's still 3 out of the 4 objects are related to your profession. And from vocational services, which is one of the avenues of which we achieve the object, we use integrity and expertise through our profession to achieve the object. A lot of people may not know this. I encourage you to research it, but Rotary was founded as a leads group. Paul Harris was a young businessman in Chicago, and all the top business people had their organizations. Paul Harris started a leads group of other young businessmen. They rotated from office to office, and that's why they called it Rotary. Well, then eventually it involved service and became a service organization. But in the beginning, it was a leads group. Our club, Tom Posey, he founded this club because he was in Plano Rotary for 10 years. And because Randy Wright had the classification of real estate, Tom couldn't get it. So I think he chose like property management. He founded this club so he can have the real estate classification, because back a long time, not even a long time ago, when I joined 20 years was a long time ago, you had limitations on how many classifications, basically business roles you could have in a club. It was like 2. And so if you had 2 lawyers, another lawyer couldn't join unless the 2 lawyers agreed to let them join, or the 3rd lawyer choose a different name. Like, for example, my first classification when I joined Plano Rotary 20 years ago was investment coaching, because that's actually what my first company did. But I was really wanted it to be in commercial real estate, but we already had people in those classifications. Now, Rotary is not as strict. There's no classification limitations in our Constitution anymore, but it's still an important part of Rotary in terms of what you do, because we want to use integrity and expertise through our profession to achieve the object of Rotary. If we don't know what each other are doing, if we don't work with each other, how are we going to know how to use an expertise of somebody else in our club, or if they operate with integrity? In the past, there was a thing called classification talks. That's where you would have a club member talk about what they do as a program. I think the last one we had in our club was Mike Walker, probably 3 years ago, I think. And he had his whole office talk about what he did. Can you guys think of anyone that we've had since then?
No.
And I thought that was great, because I never knew what Mike did. You know, half the people in our club, I don't know what they do for a living, because we kind of did away with these classification talks. And so I've been asking people to get on our schedule to talk about what they do, so we know, because we go like, oh yeah, Fred's a surveyor. Well, if you're not in real estate, you don't know what that means. And Fred's got such a deep history. I mean, 30+ years of surveying in this area. I mean, he's got a story for every lot of land. I mean, I would love, hint, 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 Fred, to have you come up and talk about it. Steve Watton, man, his company's a 3rd generation AC company. I've talked to Steve, and I would love to hear what they're doing. We have other business owners, entrepreneurs in our club. We need to talk about what we do. In fact, even though we won Club of the Year last year, and I think Steve and Glenn knows this, there's one section of the application we totally bombed. It was vocational services. We as a club have done nothing in the area of vocational services in multiple years. Fortunately, we dominated in all these other areas, but that was a big hole. And so Steve is our vocational services chair. And so we need to do more talk about professions, what we do so we know each other. Because once again, that was the reason Rotary started over 100 years ago. And it's 3 out of the 4 objects of Rotary have to do with your profession and your vocation. Dallas Rotary Club, they have a thing called Fifth Thursday. Every 5th Thursday, they have a business networking event at night because they're a noon meeting, and it's a networking group. They have people, they have some speaker, but then people are trying to do business with each other. That's what Rotary is about. A lot of people don't realize January is the official Rotary International Vocational Services Month. This is the month that we're supposed to focus in on our vocations. Nobody's doing it. We need to. So this is kind of my start. So what I'm asking you, if you have a business, if you have something to say, start speaking to clubs. Sign up for ours, but sign up for other clubs. But this is the key. My first position on the board in Plano Rotary 20 years ago, I was the program chair. And what they drilled in my head, and when you've been in Rotary for a long time, you want a speaker to give something, not sell and not ask for something. So as I encourage our club members to speak to our club and speak to others, don't try to sell anything, give. You offer some service, give information, give advice, don't sell, don't ask for something, because that's the best way of churning off a Rotary club. If you come in there with your hands out, nobody goes to a weekly meeting to have somebody pitch them. So that's kind of my intro to my talk, is our club needs to do more in the area of vocational services, because 1, we're not, and 2, it's a key area of Rotary. It's why Rotary was formed, and it was actually why our club was formed by Tom 42 years ago. Actually, 42 years ago this month. It's like, when is it? January what? 23rd, I think.
I know it's January. I don't know the date.
It's on our website. If you look at our website, you'll see, I think January 23rd is our club anniversary, when we were formed 42 years ago by Tom Posey, because he wanted to have the real estate classification. All right. Yes.
So when he tried to get real estate classification at the Plano Club, I guess, and he couldn't, but he still wanted to join Rotary, do you know what classification he used?
Well, he was there for 10 years, but he had to do like property management or something.
No.
And then he got tired of that because, you know, Posey Property, they have a large real estate company as well, him and his brother JC, that are at Plano Metro. So he left Plano Rotary after being there for 10 years and started our club so he could have his real classification.
So he still has the badge. His first classification was boat racer.
Oh, is that what it was? Boat racing. And I'm sure that's hilarious. Well, that's not what he does for a living. Anybody that knows Tom, he's still out buying and sell real estate, you know, to this day. And another great, I remember a few years ago, we had Tom talk about, you know, just why he formed the club. We have been lacking that. We haven't had club members share their expertise, share their knowledge. And we need to do that because that's part of our ability of getting to know each other. So what I'm here to talk about is a lot of people now know I've actually had a consulting company for almost 20 years, but full time, what I did was commercial real estate and sold nursing homes, and I did consulting on the side. And a few months ago, I've decided to take consulting more in a full time and doing nursing homes and commercial real estate part-time. I'm in the middle of selling a nursing home right now. And what I do is I help companies grow. And so what I want to talk about is how to grow a business. And it's, once again, if you ever speak to a Rotary Club, you want to give information. You don't want to sell. You don't want to ask for anything. You want to give. So what I'm giving for those that have businesses, steps they can take to grow their business, whether you're a startup or whether you're an established business. But before I do that, I want to play something for you.
Flight 209, you are cleared for takeoff. Roger. LA departure frequency 123.9. Roger. All right. Request vector over. Flight 209, clear for vector 324. We have clearance, Clarence. Roger, Roger. What's our vector, Victor? Clearance over. Clearance over. Over. Roger. Roger, over. Roger.
Anybody know what movie that was?
Airplane.
Airplane. Do you know when it came out?
No idea.
1980.
Oh, 80.
Then there was a sequel. That's hilarious. And what we saw was the cockpit. The point of that is, if you think of a business, it works like an airplane. We have the cockpit, which is your leadership. You've got a right engine, which is marketing, left engine is sales. You have your wings, which are your products and services. Your body is the overhead, and your fuel tanks is your cash flow. And so when you're, in order for an airplane to be safe and airworthy, these 6 parts have to be working in order, and they have to actually work in proportion of each other. Otherwise, you can have an awkward airplane. If you got a lot of business overhead and tiny wings, tiny engines, is that going to run very well? No, not at all. So we want to have a streamlined airplane. And so when you look at a business, you want the same thing. If you look at a business and you have an operating system, you want to ensure that a business or an organization flies far and fast. Well, think of this, our audience here. Who cares? That's the question. So do we have any business leaders or entrepreneurs in our club? I'd like to see a show of hands. And I know some of these answers, so I should be seeing some hands here. Who owns a business in here? See some hands. LaShawn, I don't know why your hand was down back there. We have a number of business owners. We also have people that have side gigs. So that's an audience for this conversation. We also have people that are in management. When you're in management, you're going to need to understand how a business runs. And then you have people that want to achieve a level of management or leadership. So those are really the audience of understanding how to grow a business. So as I talked about, we have a cockpit. Oops, kind of flipping through. In the cockpit, that's the responsibilities of executive and management teams. And these are the people who are flying the plane. They're the ones that are making a decision. Everything hinges on their decisions. And representative of our club, because we are 59% women as of inducting Julia today, you know, I thought it was apropos to have female pilots in the cockpit, because that's our club. We have our next 2 presidents will be women, which is awesome. Now, when you're thinking about leadership, some key responsibilities that leaders need to do. And I think a lot of people here know this. One, you got to clarify your mission. You as a leader need to know what you're trying to accomplish. And then you have to clarify your business mission. Your business needs to have a clear mission statement that both your employees and your clients are familiar with it. Becoming a great communicator, being able to present, write, and then a digital dashboard. That's a concept that a lot of businesses maybe don't formalize, but they need to understand whether they're successful or not. What are their metrics? You know, whether they're profitable, whether they have too much overhead. And then the most important part is talent. Those are your employees. You have to manage them, develop them, and then you have to install a management and execution framework. And if you think about it, this applies to a business, and it also applies to a nonprofit and an organization, because we do all this as a Rotary Club. The next part is the right engine, marketing. And marketing drives revenue, and anybody in business knows that. You know, a lot of times you think of sales driving revenue. Well, you have to have marketing to generate the sales. And so a lot of times it's good to start with marketing when you're looking at a business, because it's a fast way to bring cash into the company. And a lot of people don't know this. I actually applied these concepts to our Rotary Club. There's a concept that I work with clients on identifying their brand script. And you do that by identifying your message. Our website is our brand script, service. We're providing service to the community because that's what people want. And that's why we provided it. We actually have a sales funnel. When people sign up for our service projects, we get them shirts. We tell them about the club and they join and they continue to be a part of our process. That was the marketing process we did for our club. And we did very well in it because what do? Our product was serving the community and we do a great job of that. But it started with clarifying our message. And that was what we did through our website and our consistent social media. When you look at the left engine, that's your sales. For a company, if you're a single person company, a lot of times that sales, the left engine will be the owner. But you might have somebody that's working with your customers, converting them. And so what I work with companies is help them develop a sales team, even if it's a person, but they have a process. We did it with our club. We have a streamlined, if you look at sales, when somebody is interested in our club, they join our club. We have a streamlined way of joining our club. Everybody experienced it. It's not complicated, it's not difficult, it's online. We have a process in place. And we've done a great job of selling our product, of service, and getting new members in because we streamlined it. Then I talked about products. For a company, you need to know what your products are. The leadership knows the roles and responsibilities, to have marketing fired up and heating up the sales engine. But you also have to look at the products you're selling. And to go back to that Rotary example, a lot of Rotary clubs don't know what their product, they think their product is a weekly meeting. Well, if you're selling a weekly meeting, not a lot of people buy that. And that is why Rotary's been losing membership. Our product was service, and a lot of people have bought it. And that's why we've gained in membership. And that's why we're continually to make an impact. And so as a company, you have to be able to understand your products, which is analogous to your wings, and understand what's profitable, what's going to give you the biggest bang for the buck. So I work with companies to assess their profitability of their products, as well as their service, to identify if they need new products and services. That's what our club did. We created new products and services, which are community service. We stalled the process for putting in new products through our community service committee, and they have their new projects. You fill out a form and they go through it, and then we streamlined it. So we have a team in place to work with our volunteers as we're all serving the community. So when you look at it from a Rotary club, that's our product and service. We streamlined it. And if you remember when John Hugo talked to our club a year ago, he said Rotary needs to treat themselves like a business, because he does. It's a $130 million business for him. And you have to understand who your clients are. You have to understand what your products are. And that's where our Rotary International is trying to help clubs get to that point. And we have been very successful at it, which is why we've experienced our growth. And more importantly, that's why we have had such a dramatic impact on our community, because our product is service and we're always serving, we're helping. So we're always being connected by those in the community. We're 65 people strong that are serving all the time. That's our product. Then you have the body. The body of a plane is your overhead. And at this point, you're focused, you're on track, you're making money, but you got to trim your overhead. Everybody in company knows that's what brings you down. I had that other picture of that bloated plane. If the plane gets too big and heavy, the wings and engine won't have lift. The same is true for a business. If you got a lot of overhead, sales isn't going to help you. I mean, you're going to have to just have a lot of sales just to break even. So oftentimes leaders, they're very visionary, but they aren't necessarily looking at the bottom line. Or you got a CPA as a leader who's only looking at the bottom line, and you're not visionary. So you have to have a company that's actually looking at their whole body and trying to be streamlined. And a lot of times it just starts with stop spending and start investing. And that's what our club did. You know, our dues are $200 a month, and $200 a year. And I think about 65% of that goes to RI in the district. So we have very limited spending. You know, we're very efficient in what we do, and we do a lot. We do more service than any other club in the district, but we do it in a very cost-efficient way. We serve, we do sweat equity. And then what do we invest in? We invest in our people, our club members. We invest in the community. So we stop spending money and we start investing. That's what we did as a Rotary Club. That's what businesses do. Everybody here who has a business, you know, you gotta cut your expenditures and start investing. Every penny you spend needs to have a return, and you want to create a more efficient business. And that's what our club has been doing over the last couple of years, trying to be efficient, trying to not have single people doing everything. When you have a business that the boss is doing everything, they get burnt out. You know, they need to have systems in place. I remember when Mike did his presentation on his insurance company, I didn't realize, I mean, well, he even said it. He's like, I don't do anything. They do all the work, you know, and he had systems in place and he had talent to get it done. Every successful, Fred says the same thing. He's got a lot of people doing a lot of things. Fred has his expertise, but he has operations in place for his business to be successful. That applies to all businesses, all organizations. And so the goal is to grow your company with new products without bloating. And that's one of the things our club has been able to do. And that's what companies have to do. It's real easy to come out with a new product, but have a lot of expenditures. You know, the key is to have a new product that's taking advantage of existing resources so to allow your company to grow. Then we have last, fuel tanks. For a business, it's cash flow. That's what fuels a plane. You can have the most perfect business, but if you aren't making any money, you're going to fail. It comes down to fuel, and cash flow is what runs cash flow. And so like as a Rotary Club, cash flow is what we manage. That's the number one thing that I look at as club president is what is our cash flow looking? Are we going to be able to cover our future expenses? And for us, it's dues. Dues are our major revenue source, and we don't have high dues, so we have to manage it. Because a lot of times there's a fog in running a business because business leaders know what they want to accomplish, but they don't have a clear eye on their cash. And if they get distracted, they could suffer. So understanding the fuel is really important. And you do that by having somebody that's going to be looking at your revenue. Call it a revenue director. If it's your entrepreneur, solopreneur, it's you. But you need to have somebody, maybe you get an accountability partner that has a view of your finances to give you a second view, a second opinion. And a lot of times that might be your CPA or accountant, but you need to have somebody that's going to be looking at the real story the numbers are telling and understand how the cash flow is affected. In most organizations, that's with the treasurer. You'll have a president, a treasurer, you have a board of directors. But that's why you need to make sure that people understand as a leadership team how cash flow is affected. And then you manage your checking accounts, protect your cash. And then obviously, this doesn't apply to a Rotary Club, but you want to create a compensation package for your team members to keep them, because that's what drives an organization, is the people. And so that kind of what I do when I work with companies is using the analogy how a business works like an airplane, and it helps nonprofits use it. I consult with other nonprofits. We proved the case as a Rotary Club for our club using these same concepts. So the whole goal is when you're managing your overall business, looking at your leadership in the cockpit, your marketing, right engine, left engine sales, your overhead in your body, and your products and services in your wings, and managing your cash flow, you're going to have a successful business or a successful organization. So the goal is that have a steep trajectory in profits and growth across the board. So this is what I offer to business owners. If you go to lorixadvisors.com/MBR, I have a free assessment. If you want to, it takes 12 minutes, you answer a bunch of questions about your business, and it'll actually email you a 50-page analysis of your report and a lot of steps that you could take. I also have people that would go over it and consult it. So the whole goal is to celebrate their success. So that's what I do for a living. We want more people in our club to talk about what you do. I know what a lot of people do because I talk to them, but other people in our club, they don't know what you do. So sign up to present what you do. We have a lot of new business owners and a lot of new members that are business owners, and we have a lot of veteran members, but we haven't heard from them in a number of years. And even if you don't own your own company, what you do for a living, we would love to know, because you have a skill set, and the only way we're going to know how we as a collective team can work together is if we all know what our skill sets are, and then we can apply it. Because if you're getting paid a lot of money to do something, you could probably help in terms of making an impact in the community as well. And that is what the Object of Rotary is. So with that, I have concluded my talk. I want to talk about what we're going to be doing next week. I'm sorry, before I jump into that, do we have any questions on what I talked about? My bad. No questions from anybody?
Does Lisa's hand is raised on Zoom. Does she have a question?
Oh, thank you. I didn't see that. Lisa, do you have a question? Maybe that was before.
No, that was a no. Okay.
All right. Well, next week, I'm just flipping. Originally, we had Jamie Jolly, who was the executive director for PISD Foundation. She was going to present. Well, she had to take a leave of absence because she is running for a state Senate position. So we're going to get Sarah Bonsner and Brittany Uzuri, who is the interim executive director for PISD Foundation. And they're going to talk about how Plano West Rotary can partner with PISD Education Foundation on service projects and whatever else they think we need to know. With Jamie stepping out, they had a really small staff of 2 people, Jamie and Brittany. So that's why Sarah. So we're going to get the queen of PISD is going to talk to us about the foundation. So definitely come next week. Julia, is that a question?
Yes, sir. I actually have a question for you.
Go for it.
So for those who most people probably wouldn't know outside of my husband, but I'm a digital manager for JCPenney and previously a retail buyer. So I'd be happy to share with you one day what I do. And since digital is becoming, it's become a huge component of every business. Where do you see that portion of the business fitting on your airplane?
Well, marketing. Definitely. Digital marketing is the most cost-effective marketing that a company could do. Hence, that's why JCPenney's is making such an investment in it, because you're not using postal, you're using talent such as Julia, but you're not mailing, you're not delivering, and people feel more comfortable with digital marketing. So definitely, we would love to have you speak, because that is the future, technically. Thank you, Julia. All right, we have a couple minutes left. So with that, come next week. We want Sarah Bosner to have a great audience. As we know, we do a lot with the foundation. Those that have been involved with PIC over the years, you probably know, they don't partner with organizations at all for a lot of different reasons. It's almost because most organizations want something out of the district when they do a partnership, like to be able to sell something or to give out information. But because we just want to help, we just give. That is why PISD, from executive leadership on down, partners with Plano West Rotary, because we're just service above self and we don't ask anything in return. And that's why even right now, we do our 3 food pantries every month with them. No other organization is out there doing that. And so that's just the power of our message and how we have proved in that we truly are Rotarians. And that's awesome. That's what makes our club great. Well, are there any other questions? All right. Well, we are going to have Isabel. She's been all prepped. She practiced last night. She's going to lead us in the 4-way test. Take it away, Isabel.
Okay, the 4-way test of things we think, say, or do. Number 1, is it the truth? Second, is it fair to all concerned? Third, will it build goodwill and better friendships? Fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned? Rotary.
Rotary. Thank you, everybody. Have a great week and stay safe.